All right. Greetings, Grand Rising. Welcome to everyone. You are tuned in to the Peak Wellness Hour with myself, Angelina, and our CEO and founder of Peak Homecare Associates, Queen Edith. And Grand Rising to you, Queen Kathy B, always first in the building. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to have this conversation with you all. I, of course, am the corporate for why we're late today. So I do apologize. We are talking about transfers, safe transfers, locomotion. And today my body was just not in the locomotive mood, trying to get out of this bed. So my apologies. We are here and we are so grateful to be here with you. Grand Rising to Queen Betty, always in the house. It's so lovely to see everyone that's here right now. We're so welcome. We're so grateful that you're here with us, having this conversation. Of course, we never know where it's going to go, but it's going to go somewhere positive, and we're going to learn and grow together and have a good time. So please make sure you hit that like button. Please make sure you subscribe. Please share with someone that can benefit from this. Okay. So before we begin this conversation and dive in and give you good advice for your life, Queen Edith. You're on mute, Queen.
How did I do that? Good morning, friends and family. You know, today is the last Saturday of the month of June.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday, July 1st begins the second half of the year.
Jeez.
And coming up this week is 4th of July. Happy Independence Day, America. It's exciting. I hope you're all having plans to cook and eat. That's all I'm good at. But anyway, it's exciting to come your way once again. This is, of course, Peak Wellness Hour, and we are Peak Home Care Associates located in the county of Hamilton. However, we serve the general Indianapolis area. There's a lot of good news coming. So at the right time, I don't know if I should say it or not, but at the right time, we'll bring you all the details. But let me say this. Let's just say that we are getting into the group home industry. We are getting into group home industry. Zoe Groups is coming home soon. Zoe Group Homes is coming soon. So keep that in mind as we navigate this situation, because there's some people who don't want the big assisted living and they can stay in their home, but a small intimate setting helps. So we are getting in there. But today we are talking about what assistive devices, right?
No, we did assisted devices. We're doing the transfer. So last week we did assisted devices, and of course we dabbled all into different things, which led us to the transfers.
So the transfers. Forgive me, I'm still waking up. Forgive me.
It's all right.
She thinks she's the only one who is still half awake, half asleep. She's not the only one. I'm still awake, but I'm still trying to find my way. So I hope you've all been good. Peak Home Care Associates. Our job, our mission, and our ministry is to be a support system for you and for your loved ones, whether it is respite care, whether it's 24-hour care, whether it is living, whatever it is. You can always reach us at 317-863-0832. And I will hand over because I'm going all over the place.
Well, one more thing about locomotion and one step forward. Did you want to share with everyone what you have going on? I'm gonna put it up. You all give me a second. I'm gonna send this to myself and put it up. What you have going on this afternoon? Speaking of positive.
This afternoon at 3:30 p.m. we have the launch of a program, or that I call the AZ Arising. Is the other aspect of the help meet the woman. And I'm bringing women and the men who love us and our children together for a time of refreshing, for the time of empowerment, for a time of um, resetting for tomorrow. And more importantly, to remind us that there is hope no matter where we have been. The theme is in the book of Ezekiel 37:3, the valley of the dry bones. The theme is from the valley of the dry bones. Can these bones live again? Can your bones live again? 3:30 p.m. Crossing the church at the crossing. I believe the address is. I'll tell you the address in just a minute. Queen, do you have the address in front of you?
It is 61. No, excuse me. It's 9111 Harvest Stick
9111.
Road.
Yes.
And I'm going to put
9111
that up
Harvest
so you all can
Road.
see it.
It's church at the crossing, and it's not too far from actually the fashion mall. It's on the same road as the fashion mall, and then you branch at Harvest Stick. It's not too far at all. So if you don't have anything to do, you want to bring your children, you want to bring your spouses for a time of refreshing before we enter the second half of the year. We all need it. We need it more than we think we do. We all need it. So I'm counting on you to come and support the sister. God bless you.
Yes. So that information is there up on the screen. Take a screenshot, write it down. You can always go back and rewind and get that information if you would like to have that. Okay. So we always love to support you all. We always appreciate the support from you all. So we love connecting and making changes. So there that is. All right. So let's have this conversation. Grand Rising, who we have? Grand Rising Queen Mother, aka Rhonda. Grand Rising. So yeah, let's have this conversation. I love the love in the room. I love the energy and the connections in the chat. It's beautiful. So yes, we're talking about locomotion. We're talking about transferring safely. And when I did the intro this week, and I picked a little video at the end. I don't know if you all saw it. You can go back and watch it. But the gentleman, the caregiver, was helping lift the patient, the client up, pulling her by the arms. Okay. We're going to talk about these kind of things and not just safely getting up. We're not just talking about staying off the floor, not falling. We're talking about being able to transfer from one position to another, from bed to standing. You're going from bed to wheelchair. You're going from wheelchair, whatever it is. We want to talk about the safety in that. As someone that may need that help, or as a caregiver that's providing that help. Because a lot of us, we're so quick and we don't think about things when we are providing care. And sometimes it can cost, unintentionally, it can cause harm to whoever we're taking care of. So we want to look at those things and make sure we're doing the right thing when it comes to safely transferring people, when it comes to safely transferring ourselves. As a 52-year-old woman, or excuse 42, what am I looking at? 42-year-old woman. I'm looking at this
Woman.
Yeah, I'm a 42-year-old woman. I am not, I can fall. Okay. It can happen. So we want to make sure that we are safe. And we're doing the right things. Last week we talked about assistive devices. We got a refresher course. I got a refresher course. Some of us learned some things when it came to how to properly use a cane, how to properly use a walker. What happens when we are that assistive device, right? When we're helping lift someone up, what side are we getting on? What do you think, Queen? Anybody in the chat? So Mr. Smith has a fractured left leg. I'm helping Mr. Smith up. Am I getting on the left side or the right side?
The weaker side, so the left side.
Right. But a lot of us, when we're giving care, we just go with it, and we're not mindful. of the importance of that transfer. Not only can you cause falls, you can cause injury. So you want to think about those things when we're taking care of people. Queen.
So there are techniques to transferring. There are techniques to transferring. One of the things I've observed family members transferring family members, and it's bothersome, to be honest with you. I find that quite bothersome because the way they do it, I wish we had videos. We don't have videos, right?
Oh, you know I'm gonna find those videos,
If
Queen.
we can find video, video, it will be great. But there are techniques, just like the techniques to the assistive devices. I didn't know that the walker had to be at your wrist level. I didn't know that. So there are techniques. So like she's with Angelina said, if the person has a weakness to their right side, the caregiver must be on the right side to help them effectively. Even when they are walking, the caregiver must walk at the weaker side because that is the only way. That is the part is bound to or has the possibility of falling apart or giving way. So you are there to be able to support them. The left side transfer transfer. Let's just say you're transferring from a wheelchair or a transport chair to the bed or a couch or something. Where do you stand? Where do you stand? I have seen techniques where people say, put your arms around my neck. And then they grab your neck and tend to want to pull you down. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do this transfer? Is it necessary to use a gait belt? You stand in front of the person. You stand in front of the person. The position of your legs, ideally, in my opinion, one leg should be in between their legs. Or what do you say, Queen? No, your legs are
Um, I
outside their
I guess it depends. What's that? I think
for
it depends on how you're transferring. I think it depends on the position, and how you're trying to pivot somebody. Putting your foot between their legs you're looking for stability. Now you're able with that leg to move them how you need to, a little more stability. In doing that, yeah, I think
and
it's very. Go ahead.
if they
Hmm.
have, like, let's just say they had a stroke and the left side of the leg is not moving, when your leg is in the middle you can control how to move that left side. It makes it
Hmm.
easier. Okay, but if they can
Hmm.
bear a little weight, you stand with your legs apart and maybe their legs is in between your legs, and you
Hmm.
feel to pivot them. So it all depends on the different situations, where the weaknesses are, whether they can bear some weight or not. So it all depends. So I think that ideally, if we had a few videos that we can show you, it will help. It will guide us in this thing. And your
Grand
arms
Rising Queen. Go ahead.
transferring from transferring from a wheel excuse me a wheelchair, let's just say a wheelchair to a bed or a wheelchair to a couch, transferring from these transfers, I've seen people stand behind and try
Hmm.
to lift, and lifting, you also, as the caregiver, you don't lift you lift from your knee position. You see that, I don't know how to describe, but you lift from your knee, so you have to have you bend your knee a little bit to
Your
give you
legs,
stability.
it's your legs. Don't bust your knees up, y'all. Lift from the legs. So it's the legs. It's what this is what you need to know. It's not the back. Okay. Don't be
Yeah,
lifting with your back.
exactly.
That's what you need to know, people.
It's not your back, because that's why a lot of us are hurting our backs. Okay,
Hmm.
so there, and your arm have to go around the person. If there's a gate belt, you hold on to the gate belt whilst your
Hmm.
arm is around the person, and with your knees bent a little bit, you lift. You don't go putting all that pressure on your back. Queen, I think we cannot be effective without videos. I don't know how we
Right.
do.
Yeah, okay. I found you one. We're gonna look. So for everyone that does not know what a gate belt is, we're gonna watch this video. Please
Okay.
like and share, and I'll make sure that we put the information. I'm glad you're back also, Queen SC. We're so glad to have you here. Welcome, welcome, Queen. I'll put no, I do have to play this fair use thing. I have to play it because I don't know it by heart. So I'm just gonna play it so you all know, so we do not get in trouble with YouTube or any other platforms. Just to let you all know, this is not our content, but for some reason they want that said. And they want you all to know that we know. So we're gonna play this really quickly. And then we're gonna get into these videos and talk about what a gate build is. Let's play this real quick. Under the copyright disclaimer, under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Please enjoy the content. Okay, so what does that mean? That means when you see these people that don't look like us with these videos, you know that we didn't make them. Okay, so we follow the rules over here. So let's look at this video. Queen Kathy says, I was a CNA years ago and worked in a rehab unit. It is a tough job. You know, and again, last week was CNA week. Shout out to all the CNAs every week. It is a tough job. So when we're talking about gate belts, gate, okay, we try to talk like we're not like anyone's stupid, but just so we can have understanding. Okay, we use terms in medical jargon, and it goes over people's heads. So with the gate belt, it's simply your gait, your balance, how you are able to be steady, right? So a gate belt is where you're putting that belt around the person, and it helps control movement when there's lack of movement on that individual's behalf. Okay, so that's what we're talking about there. So I am going to share this video. Give me just a second. I'm gonna put this. So I'm gonna turn my screen off so you don't see my face all in the screen while I'm looking for this. Let me see.
And the advantage of the gate belt is also that when you are walking this person and God forbid they're falling or slipping, you have something to hold on to other than their clothes or their body. So remember that in this season of their lives, their skin is very delicate. So grabbing on their hands, they can easily get a skin tear. So the gate belt gives you a good grip, without necessarily endangering or putting their skin in harm's way. So
that's a really good point. That's a really good point when it comes to skin tears and whatnot. That wasn't even on my mind before you said that. Very good point. Okay, so I'm gonna share the screen. Okay. Okay, so they're talking about gate belts, mainly. I don't know how far they'll go into as far as safe transfers, but they're talking about gate belts. Let's see what they have. Hang on, sir. And I'm going to put this link in the description in the chat if you all want to check that out. So here we go. I think. Hang on. Okay, here we go.
Hoffman. I'm here at Sage Oak Senior Living, and I'm here to show you the proper steps when transferring a resident. I've invited Brian Harmon from Senior Solutions Home Health. He's a physical therapist. So I also have a couple other people that I'll need to introduce you to. One most important is Mr. Ted here. He volunteered to let us do this for all of your learning pleasure. Ted?
Is there something wrong with the video?
It is. Hold on. What's up, Ted?
Big smile for the camera. All right, there we go.
So when we do a transfer to a chair, one of the big keys for any type of transfer is making sure that you're set up properly. So you want to avoid having the wheelchair facing the surface you want to go to. Generally, you want to have it off at an angle. And ideally, unless there's something else going on with the patient, you're always going to be going towards the strong side, unless the environment doesn't allow for it. So in Ted's case, the right side is his strong side, so it's going to make it a lot easier to do the transfer this way. Make sure that you're using a gait belt. Don't pull up on the arms. If you pull up on the shoulders, you can injure yourself or, more importantly, the resident. So as far as setup, the chairs need to be set at the right distance. You're trying to get your resident's rear end as close to the landing surface as possible. So in the case of Ted's wheelchair, what we want to do is remove the arm. So now all of a sudden we just have this much space to do a transfer. Just slide him over. All right, Ted, I want you to scoot forward in the chair as close to the edge as you can get without falling off. There you go. Okay, I'm going to reach this hand over here. The reason for reaching the hand is two things. One, it keeps the hand out of the way, so when they transfer the knife in their hands here, they won't sit on their hand. And two, it gets them positioned where they're leaning forward, which works in your favor as far as physics is concerned. Okay, and then on 3, Ted, all we're going to do is lift your butt up and then pivot and turn and sit on the chair. Okay? On 3, 1, 2, 3, up. There you go. Perfect. To go back, we just kind of reverse the same. Ted, go ahead and scoot forward in the chair a little further. Get towards the edge. Ted has his left arm, while it still has a contracture, he still has some mobility with it. So I'm going to have him reach forward here. Again, same thing. We're getting him forward in the chair, having him lean forward, getting his lead hand out of the way, not here, because he'll sit on the hand. And then same thing, Ted. On 3, we're going to stand up, turn, pivot. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Up. There you go. Good. Easy. Easy. Easy.
All right, everyone. This is Thelma. Thelma is the manager of this property. There's 8 residents who live in this little boutique assisted living. Thelma runs the show here.
Transfer you into your chair, okay? Yeah. All right. I'm position you right here. Lock the chair. Kind of lift your armrest for you. Elbows, knees, and toes. There we go. Yep. Step forward already. Breathe over. Okay, I'm going to come and count to 3. You're going to stand, okay? 1, 2, 3.
How was that, Ted?
With this arm. Yes, sir. And turn. That was all me?
Wow.
I felt me doing something.
Thelma's like, I can tell. I'm sweating and I haven't done a transfer. If you're a caregiver and you're doing this all day, these techniques are really important. One transfer isn't going to wear you out, but a day full of transfers is going to wear you out. That's one of the many reasons you want to have proper techniques.
So the 4 things I would say as a highlights for transfers are, first and foremost, the setup and your body position. And that's body position not just for you, but also for the resident that you're going to be transferring. So the setup involves the levelness of the surfaces, getting the seating surfaces as close as you can together, because it makes the transfer much safer and much easier for you. Making sure that your body position, using your legs versus your back, you guys have heard that before. Making sure that you use safety equipment like the gait belt, and then also make sure that you try to use short commands. Keep them as short as you can, and make sure you do give them commands and don't just 1, 2, 3 lift, because they don't know where you're going from there.
I hope you find this helpful. I hope that it makes doing transfers a lot easier for you. You can take a look at the links below, and I'll have the website to Sage Oak Senior Living. I'll also have the website, Senior Solutions Home Health. I see a lot more of these. I'm hoping to put out 1 a week. Hopefully we can get Brian to be a part of them. Just make senior housing a little bit better place is what we're hoping to achieve.
May I say something before you jump in? Maybe I should.
Hang on just a second. Let me turn this off. I'm sorry. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead. Yes,
you
ma'am.
can hear me.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
yes, ma'am, I can.
One of the first things we look at when transfer is, first of all, the person's condition. Secondly, we have to remember the angle at which you put the wheelchair or the transport chair and the location, where their final location, where you're transferring them to. The third thing is the cues. The cues, you don't just come and do. So you have to cue this person, you have to let them know what you're doing. So if they have the ability, they can help you. And I think that the fourth, and yet for me, the most important thing, it's your posture. The caregiver's posture whilst you're doing that. Because if you're doing this a lot all day, I have a friend who had a client, may his soul rest in peace, but he was so uncomfortable. He couldn't sit at one place. 1 minute he wanted to go into the recliner, the next minute he wanted to go to the outside, the next minute. So it was a 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. an 11-hour shift. So this client constantly was moving and he couldn't bear weight. So can you imagine? He just finished eating. He wants to go to the bathroom. He came back from the bathroom. He wants to go to the bathroom again. He wants to go here. It's a constant transfer thing. If you don't
you know what though? Think about this too, Queen. Think about, that's a lot of work with that one person, and you do want to, make sure they had that freedom to be, to move around. But what happens when you're dealing in a facility or a group home setting, and now you have Mr. Smith that weighs, 150, Miss Smith weighs 110, but Miss Jones weighs 216. No, now your body has to get used to shifting all kinds of weight, and if you're not mindful of, like you said, how you're positioning and you're just going at it, it's gonna wear and tear on your body, and you won't see it until later on down the road, where it causes that permanent damage, so yeah.
Go ahead. And one of the things that we saw is that you saw all of them lifting from the knee. So the weight is on the leg and not on their back. When you and then whilst their hand was around the client, for lack of a better word, whilst their hand was around the client or the senior, behind them they were grabbing the gait belt and not their skin.
Yes. I was hoping everybody saw that. I was hoping everybody saw that watching that video. Yeah. It wasn't just grabbing and hugging.
Gait belt and not their skin. Because your nails could dig into their skin. You may not have even long nails, because a lot of us, you are not allowed to have long nails, but you can still dig your nail into their skin. Number one, just in case there's a slip, you're holding on to a very delicate skin. Skin tears are a big deal. Okay, bruising is happening all the time. So sometimes not so much that there's nothing to hold on to, but it's just avoiding unnecessary skin contact to prevent tears and the bruising. The gait belt comes in as a very safe device. Plus, if they're falling, you can grab that gait belt and find a way to put them down gently, rather than, because you're trying to grab them. It's not even. It's unprofessional, and it's not safe.
And with that, sometimes if someone's falling, sometimes all you can do is use that gait belt to help guide them. Sometimes it's more harmful for you to try to break that fall, trying to snatch somebody up and keep them up, and you've injured both of you. So, yeah, let me ask you a question. So what are your thoughts about transferring and with the pants? So now Mr. Smith is wearing he's got his britches on, okay, and he needs pulled up. He needs to be he needs to stand up. So what are your thoughts about, we don't have the gait belt, so we're going to pull him up by his britches. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's unsafe. I think that's unprofessional. I mean, if it's a short thing, and you pulling him up by that, so in between his legs, it could be tight. You could be hurting him. I personally don't think that we should be doing that. It's done a lot.
It is. I think it works with minimal assist. Like if I'm having an issue pushing up, then maybe I can grab you by the side of your pants and under your arm. And if I can assist you where you can participate in standing up. But if you cannot participate.
A total transfer situation, right?
Right.
Not a total transfer.
You're right.
They can do it, but you're just helping them. So you're not pulling so hard on it. And I think that one of the things, and even though we didn't talk about it last week, it's a safety device, but it's also helpful with transfer grab bars.
Yes.
Grab bars. So if this person can bear weight, for example, with the example you just gave, they can hold on to something while you pull up their clothes and guide them to move themselves around. I was training a young lady this week, and she was trying to lift a woman who could actually stand. Okay, so once you know the person's ability, you cue them. Okay, let's just say Miss Edith. Okay, scoot forward in that chair. Scoot forward. Scoot your bottom to the edge of the chair. Because getting up from the middle of the chair is difficult. So one of the things is repositioning to stand up. Scooting forward. Even if it's a total transfer, you can scoot them forward to the edge a little bit. So you're not moving all the way from the middle. The key is this. We need to position the client in a way that is least demanding on our body. So when the person is sitting fully in the bed, it's difficult. But when you move them forward to the edge, not so that they fall, but forward enough that they are firmly or they're sitting up, it's easy for you to move them. Now, what about someone who is total in bed, like can't do anything for themselves? You got to move them around. You may have to transfer them to the commode. How do we do this?
Well, first of all, if you are a total assistant, you can't do nothing in the bed. Unfortunately, chances are you're not getting up and going to the commode. So what do we do with people that are bedbound? Do we leave them in bed? Now, we can't get them a toilet, but we definitely want to make sure we keep you clean and dry. But do you leave them in bed? No, that is a horrible quality of life. I know that wasn't your question, but I'm just thinking myself, that's a horrible quality of life. So how do we do that? And a lot of times it requires more than one person to transfer. So my answer to that, people need to be, what's the word I want to use? That's not medical. You need to be in the right bracket to where do you need a one person transfer? Do you need a 2-person transfer? Do you need a mechanical device? We had to look at those things. It's an issue if you're bedbound. It's a big issue. Say someone, I know people that have, queen size, full size beds in facilities. And now they used to be able to get in and out of the bed and now they can't. They're a fall risk. So I'm helping you get into bed. I have to get you into the center of the bed, right? So how do I get you there? How do I get you out of the bed safely? So if you are taking care of a loved one at home, something that you want to think about is having a sturdy sheet or a sturdy, thin blanket under that person where you can pull them and, turn them, and you're not putting that strain on that individual, again, pulling at the arms or whatnot. I think the only time I won't say that, because I've lifted people, I've gotten over the bed and gotten under their arms and pulled them up if I can. But a lot of times that requires two people. It's better with two people, so it's tricky. It's tricky being mindful like that.
And the other thing about that situation is that those beds are generally lower. You can't bring them up. They're adjustable beds, but they are not. You can lift it up, to a position where it's comfortable for you to move the client, or it's healthy for you to move the client. So I think when your parents or your senior loved one get to that position, ideally get a hospital bed, because it's good for them and it's good for the caregiver as well. Because you want to be able to help your family, and getting injured is not part of it. Even the bed is a safety device. So the hospital bed, so you can lift it in a position where if it's a single person, so we are now talking about a bed-bound person being moved around. But the question I asked, what I had in mind was the role of the Hoyer lift. The role of the Hoyer lift because sometimes they can't help themselves, but you can sit them in a chair to get out of the bed, get them to get some fresh air. And with the Hoyer lift, it's safe to bring them out of the bed. Of course, if they can't hold their back, then of course they stay in the bed, because some people have issues on their back to the point that they can't sit straight. They'll bend over or they'll fall over. That's a completely different scenario, because I know a quadriplegic who can sit in a chair and come to the dining table, sit and be fed at the table. So the fact that they are quadriplegic, they can't move, they can't do anything, doesn't mean they have to get stuck in bed. With technology has given us options, So first of all, getting them out of the bed prevents bed sores, minimizes, let me put it that way, minimizes bed sore, because they are not on back all the time. The turn every 2 hours, the turn and the turn. Really, that's no life for anybody to live. So if there's any way and anything we can do to make it a little more bearable, using a Hoyer belt or all those other gadgets that are available to us now, then we must, but we must know technique for doing all those things. So it's good to learn how to use the Hoyer belt. It's good for all of us to learn how to use it.
So I've got a video for you if you want to see it. That's why my camera's off, y'all, so you don't see my face again like that. Let me see. I know. Well, I'm just like real close, because as I'm getting older, I need some spectacles, y'all. So I got to get close, and y'all don't want me that close. So I've got my eyelashes on and all that stuff. So we're all getting older. Every day we wake up, we're getting old. Doesn't mean we're getting old, but we're getting older for sure. Sorry about that. Yeah, we're getting older for sure. Okay, so I found the video for the Hoyer lift. Let me see what this is, and I'll share this with you all. The important thing to remember with this is with the Hoyers, and I know that, I don't know, Quinn, you tell me what you think about this. I think that, I know in facilities, it's a 2-person job. So you have to have a second person in order to transfer that
With the
patient
Hoyer.
with the Hoyer in a facility. Yes, that is. I don't in Indiana.
But
That's
at
just
home,
regulation.
Oh, I see. But
At home, no, no. And I think in the facility, it's just a safety issue. You know, you really need training is very important with that. So I think it's just it's a liability kind of thing with that in the facility. So if you are working in a facility, make sure you have that. I've seen people lose their jobs. I've seen people with their licenses on the line because they didn't adhere to that. And now someone's had a fractured, hip or something, and they're trying to pinpoint what happened, so that's very serious when it comes. That's how serious making sure safety transfers are being implemented. So I'm going to share the screen. And we'll watch this really quickly. And I'll put this link in the chat also. Yes. Okay, here we go. Let's see.
Your body in order to help lift. Explain that you are going to place a sling under their body in order to help lift them using a mechanical lift to get them out of the chair and onto a table. Lock the brakes on the wheelchair and swing away or remove the leg rests. Ask the patient to lean forward. Be careful to not allow the patient to lean forward out of the chair. You may need someone to stand in front of the patient for this reason. Place the sling behind the patient with the smooth surface against the patient and the handles on the outside, making sure to place the opening close to their bottom. Lean the patient back in the chair. Lift one of the patient's leg and pull one edge of the sling under the patient's leg just behind the knee. Do the same with the other leg. You will want to crisscross the straps when attaching the sling to the Hoyer. Position the lift over the patient's wheelchair. Open the legs for maximum stability and lock the caster brakes. Lower the boom and position it so that the sling bar is parallel to the patient's shoulders. Attach the straps of the sling to the sling bar. Don't forget to crisscross the straps under the patient's legs and make sure that the straps by the patient's legs attach to the front of the sling bar. Use the same color strap for both legs. Attach the top straps, the one by the patient's shoulders, to the sling bar, making sure again to use the same color on both sides. When attaching the straps, make sure that the front straps under the legs are one notch lower than the shoulder straps. Make sure that the patient's arms are crossed and inside the sling. Unlock the rear casters of the Hoyer. Slightly raise the patient with the lift, just enough so that the patient's bottom is almost off of the chair. Double check that all of the straps. Gently turn the lift toward the table and position the patient over the middle of the table. Rotate and properly position the patient over the bed. Lower the patient on the table. Once the patient's full weight is on the table, you may lock the casters again and remove the straps from the lift. Unlock the rear casters and remove the lift. Remove the sling from underneath the patient.
Okay, I didn't like that one. I'll be honest, I've never seen someone do it from a wheelchair position like that. Typically, I don't know, we've got some nurses and healthcare providers in the chat. You all let me know what you think. Typically, I've seen it where if you have a Hoyer lift, that lift is you put that under under the patient when they're in bed. And then when they're transferred to the wheelchair, it stays under them. So that's an interesting idea, depending on the weight and the support and help you have doing that. That is an idea in order to get that pad from under them, so they're not sitting on it all day, which is what I've typically seen, because a lot of times it's difficult to remove and replace it in the wheelchair. So that was interesting to see, and it looked like that gentleman was able to help a little more, maybe, I don't know, but I've not seen it done like that. So that was, again, some new learning process, right? But you can see why it is important to have two people, because someone has to be able to guide that pad that's under that person, and get them to where they're supposed to be. So that's why it really is important. So I didn't like that video. What do you think?
You didn't like that video. Okay. All right.
I didn't feel like it was I guess it did the job. Go ahead.
One thing I don't care for about Hoyer lifts, and they really are helpful when you get to know how to use them well. They make life easier, but it takes a lot of space, and a lot of maneuvering. If you're doing it alone, you have to have enough space to put the thing there, go to that side of the bed, come to this side, and make sure that everything is in place. But once you're able to get a hang of it, you do well with it. I think it's helpful. But yeah, maybe that was not the best of videos.
Quick story. So I'm gonna share with you all a quick story. So there was this patient, and she has a debilitating disease, so she can't move anything. Okay, and we're not going to violate HIPAA here, but she cannot move anything but her fingers. And I went out. This is some time ago. I went out to care for her, and she was a total assist. She could not do anything. Could not stand. Could not do anything. And I had tried, me being a superhero like I try to be, and all these years being able to lift things by myself. Again, 42 years old looks totally different. From 22, lifting people. And so I tried it. Just wanting to, give her dignity. I'm heavy. Are you sure? I'm like, I got it. No big deal. I got it. I'm I'm a heavyweight champion of the world. I did that one time. And when I went home, my back said, not again. I went back the next time, and really sweet lady. Her son was there. He lifts her all the time. Really sweet woman. I went back the next time. I said, I'm going to go ahead and get your son to help me. She was telling me she has a Hoyer lift in this corner in her bedroom. The bed was so high, I would have to jump up to get onto the bed. So now you need to be transferred, and now I have to lift you up, not just pivot, but lift you up on this bed. That's a safety issue. She was not going with that Hoyer lift. In fact, she was planning on sending it back. She was refusing. I said, well, I'm gonna get your son to help me. She was so irate at me. And I was confused and offended because I was confused. Are you serious? Well, why do you need his help? Well, ma'am, because it's a safety issue for you and for me. You did it the last time. I did. And I'm here to tell you I can't. And that bothered her. Like, I was dismissed. She did not want me coming back. Like, my mom's in the chat. Like, she gave me hell and hot water every time I tried to schedule a visit with her. No. But then a CNA wound up doing the same thing, and she injured her back. See what I'm saying? Like, we have to be smart about that. I'm all about dignity and your rights. But this is a safety issue when we're caring for people, and we have to be mindful of that. A lot of people that we're taking care of have back issues, have joint issues. I don't want to inherit that because I'm trying to do the right thing.
Exactly. It's about the safety of the senior, but it's also about your own safety. To be honest with you, you go to help, and so why allow you to hinder yourself? Why hinder yourself with the help? You may be able to lift them up. You may be the strong, macho woman, but that's not what this is about. It's not machoism at all. So it's so important. If there is someone there who can help you, get the help. And I don't know why she wouldn't use the Hoyer lift. First of all, if the bed is that high, it's difficult for you to lift this person up from that level of height. It's difficult. And there's no way of adjusting. So,
and it's pride. A lot of times it's pride. It's pride. It's pride a lot of times. Like we talked about last week, where we don't want to use, the walkers. We don't want to use the cane because it doesn't look cool. It's pride. But now when you're in a situation where you're being taken care of because your pride got the best of you, now you're stuck like Chuck. So we have to be wise about our bodies. Being caregivers is about wisdom, and making good decisions, making hard decisions on behalf of others, so we have to think of it like that. Go ahead, Queen, get your hair done. Queen.
You're talking about
thank you for tuning in.
Wisdom. I have to say this. We have clients who feel offended when they see you wearing gloves.
Mm-hmm.
They feel offended when they see you wearing gloves. But once again, it's a very serious safety issue. They will say to you, I'm clean, you don't need gloves. I'm giving you a shower, I'm clean. I'm taking the sponge, whatever I'm using to wash your private parts, to wash your anal area. There may be poop
Mm-hmm.
in it. You think you're clean, but there may be, no matter how clean you are, it is a requirement. It is required.
And you're right. And it's not for anyone that feels like that. It's not about you being unclean. It's no different than if Queen Edith came over here, and I just washed my sheets. It doesn't mean that I invite her to lay in my bed. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I sleep in the bed. Like, the sheets are not a protector against the mat. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing personal.
Queen, carry on. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. We transmit things. Things are transmitted. That's how infection is transmitted, all those things. So don't be offended. Be healthy. And before COVID, it's like nobody was thinking about washing hands, and now it's a big deal. Like, that's important. When again, with that also comes soap and water. We sanitize so many times. At some point, you need some hot water and some soap and some friction on them hands. Okay, so think about that when someone's touching you. Did they wash their hands before? Come on. Let's just be way on the side of caution, okay, and wisdom with that. I know we're almost out of time. I wanted to share with you all a video really quickly. Unless Queen has something to say. I want to, but before we go,
before you do the video, I missed what you said. But
I was just saying, as far as cleanliness, this transmittable things are transmittable. There was a doctor, I forgot who it was. I hate referring to things, and I can't give you sites or whatever. But there was a doctor, the physician that came up with hand washing. Everybody thought that it was a silly idea. It was not a big deal. There was a point in time where doctors were not washing their hands. And this doctor could not figure out why, diseases were being spread, germs and infections. He started washing his hands, and diseases and infections went down. It's that simple. Hand hygiene is one of the biggest defenses against, infection and sickness. So if you're offended about that, we are family. But I don't want nobody wiping my butt either without gloves. I don't want my husband if he had to. Let's just keep it real. We family, we love you.
I need to say this to families. The fact that the person is your mother, the fact that it's your husband, the fact that it's your child, doesn't change this requirement. Protect yourself by washing your hands, by wearing the gloves, because otherwise, if you don't take care, you might give the client an infection. If you have to come back and feed them, if you have to come back and just protect yourself, it is not undignifying to wear gloves. And I think that seniors were like, why is she wearing gloves? I'm dirty. We need to figure out how to explain to them that it's not because you're dirty. I could bring something to you you don't even know. So whilst I'm protecting you, I'm protecting me as well. This is very important. And I've seen it on the field a lot. And caregivers.
Yeah, it is. And go ahead. No, please go ahead.
Caregivers sometimes feel, okay, well, I don't need to wear gloves for this and I don't need to wear gloves for that. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I mean, if you're doing my hair, you don't.
And with some things, sometimes I won't. Sometimes, like if I'm like, we had a client that hid the gloves on top. Like I wasn't tall enough to get them gloves. You know what I'm talking about. Why are you hiding these gloves? You know what I'm talking about. You hid them gloves on top. But why? And she was offended. But I don't mind. Now I've bathed you with these gloves, but I can moisturize your back and your legs without gloves. I
Exactly,
don't
your
mind doing
face,
it.
do your
You
hair
know?
and all of that
Yeah.
without those. But
Yeah.
some
But
things
we're not
need
getting
gloves.
yeah, we're not getting up close to the person. I'm not changing your bed linen without gloves. I'm not picking up trash without gloves. I'm not doing it. So you can be offended, but we have to go home to families and we have to take care of other people. So we're protecting everybody, including you. And you wouldn't want me coming to you without washing my hands after I touch somebody else. You wouldn't want that. So yeah. We gotta have, and it's hard to have those conversations with our clients, our residents, our patients, or and their families. But
Exactly.
I'm telling you, family members, y'all should be wearing gloves too. So stop it.
Yeah.
We touch our faces. Just don't. If my
No.
nails are dirty and I scratch you, what happens if I scratch you and now you got a skin infection because what? I've got a young lady that has lymphedema. That lymphedema is crazy. She had a rash or something on her legs and she was scratching, and now her whole leg looks like elephantitis. Like it's crazy. All because something under your nails that you've scratched.
We
So
take a lot for granted. We take a lot for granted in the field. And sometimes we become so personal that we don't think we need it. We need it with our own children. We need it with our own parents.
yeah,
We need it.
definitely. So, and when it comes to Peak Home Care Associates, if you do utilize our services, and we're grateful that you do, you can always have a conversation with us. You can always reach out and share your concerns. Okay. We don't know if you don't tell us. Okay. We can speculate, but we don't know if there's a concern unless you voice that. Nurses and healthcare providers, we're not superheroes. We just, it's just a profession. We're not superheroes, we're not mind readers. Okay. We can't fix it all. Okay. So, but if we can, we will. But it's a group effort. When we're taking care of your loved ones, we need you to be a part of that. We don't have all the answers. How many times what should we do? What should I do, Edith? Tell me what to do, Angeline. It's like, well, what do you want to do? Well, I don't know. I trust you. Yeah. This is what I would do. I'm not advising, so it's very tricky.
Exactly.
My husband has had a situation. With hospice companies, right? And a family member came in. He sees his family member all the time. He came in for a meeting and he was irate with the whole staff, yelling at them, just belligerent. He looked at my husband, and the problem was because the mother wasn't doing well and hospice was not communicating as they should be. So my husband trusted them to do what they said. So there was no reason for both of them to communicate. He finds out that there's been no communication for months from hospice. And that man looked at him and he said, you know what? I'm disappointed in you because I trusted you to help me choose the right hospice company. That bothered my husband. I think he's still bothered by it. It bothers me when I disappoint, but like you said, he sees them all the time in the hallway. He never said anything. And all of a sudden in this meeting, you're irate and angry and inconsolable, but you didn't say anything. So we do disappoint. We do come short. We do try. But again, it's a group effort. It's a collective effort.
It's a
If we're helping you with your loved ones, we're just a branch of what your role is, so got to be involved. You got to be involved. Definitely. So we're almost out of time. We're actually out of time. I want to show you all, what do you think, Queen? Do we have time? You got Bible study. We'll do it next time. I want to show that video I showed you with the different, we'll do it next time because I wanted to go there and break it down with the different ideas for seniors. Yeah. So I want to break some stuff down. But what do you all think? Has this been helpful for you all? Has this been helpful for you? So. Hopefully it has. Hopefully we'll give you something to think about. And maybe you can't use it right now. We have a lot of, like I said, we have a lot of healthcare providers, whether present or past in the chat. So hopefully this is something that can help. That's what we're here for, is to share information, share knowledge, to be informed ourselves. So hopefully this helped you all. I'm going to let Queen Edith take us out, our CEO and founder of Peak Home Care Associates. Gonna let her take us out. And then she's doing them with banner up too.
Thank you so much. And I want to remind you about the Azer Arising, bringing praying women and the men that support them together. The venue is the church at the crossing, 9111 Haverstick Road. It's 3:30 p.m. I promise you, your life will not be the same. You will not look at situations the same. Take that moment, take that time, come join us, come get refreshed and empowered. It's not a women's empower thing. It's a family empowerment thing. When you empower a woman, you empower a family. You move the family to the right direction. So I'm counting on your support for you to come in tonight, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much. And remember, this is Peak Home Care Associates. Whatever our hands find to do, we are committed to ensuring that we do it well. Not everybody takes good care of their own families. Not everybody loves their family. So I can't say we'll love your mother like you love your mother, but I can say I can love them and take care of them like I know to take care of myself at least. And so we are in the city of Noblesville, Hamilton County, but we serve the general Indianapolis area. Please don't assume that we do or we don't something. Call us, reach out to us, info@peakhomecareassociates.com, 317-863-0832. You can also send us a message through our website, or simply, leave us a message on Facebook. We'll find it and we'll get back to you. Thank you so much, all the queens and the kings. I saw one of the kings had a funeral or had a death in the family, and I think I gave him my condolences. But to all the loved ones, community, friends, and family out there, thank you. We hope you have a great weekend and an amazing 4th of July holiday. Queen.
Peace, love, and blessings to you all. Make sure you all look in the descriptions and subscribe to all our goodies that we have for you all our platforms. We love you. We appreciate you all. We're going to be back here next Saturday doing it again. We might be we'll be here 10 a.m.-ish, 10 a.m.-ish. So make sure you join us. We love you all. We love the support. Until next time, peace, love, and blessings.
Bye.